Amid the hustle of a busy market, a skinny, neglected dog sat chained near a vendor stall. His fur was dirty and matted, and his ribs showed through his thin body. People walked past, not even looking at him. The dog's eyes were sad, as if he had already given up hope. Snoop Dogg strolled through the market, wearing sunglasses and nodding to the beat of the music playing in his headphones. As he passed the vendor, he noticed the dog. He stopped, pulled down his shade slightly, and frowned. "Ayo, why this lil' homie lookin' so sad," he muttered. He crouched down near the dog, watching as it barely lifted its head. The dog didn't growl or bark, it was just tired, too weak to react. Snoop reached out his hand, letting the dog sniff him. The dog hesitated but slowly wagged his tail. Snoop turned to the vendor. "Yo, this your dog?" The vendor barely looked up. "Yeah, but he's no good. Nobody wants him. He just takes up space." Snoop's eyes narrowed. "No good?" "Nah, man. Every dog deserves a chance." The vendor shrugged. "If you want him, take him." Snoop didn't hesitate. He unclipped the chain and patted the dog's head. "Come on, big dog. You rollin' with me now." The dog struggled to stand at first, his legs wobbly from being tied up for so long. But Snoop waited patiently, giving him time. Slowly, they walked out of the market together. Back at Snoop's home, the dog got his first warm bath in who knows how long. The dirty water swirled down the drain, revealing a beautiful brown coat underneath. He got fresh food, clean water, and a soft bed to sleep on. For the first few days, the dog was cautious. He had never been treated with kindness before. But Snoop was patient. He talked to him, played soft music, and let the dog adjust at his own pace. By the end of the week, the dog started following Snoop everywhere. He wagged his tail more, his eyes brighter. He had a new name now, Big Dog. One day, while Snoop was outside, a car sped toward a kid crossing the street. Before anyone could react, Big Dog sprinted forward and pushed the child out of the way. The car screeched to a stop, and the kid was safe, thanks to the dog that nobody had wanted. Snoop grinned and patted his head. "Look at you, Big Dog. From forgotten to hero." From that day on, Big Dog wasn't just a rescue dog. He was family. Snoop Dogg walked through the busy market, nodding to the beat of his music. People rushed around, buying and selling, but one thing caught his eye, a skinny dog, chained to a post near a vendor's stall. The dog looked weak, his fur dirty and matted. His ribs stuck out, and his eyes were full of sadness. Snoop stopped, pulled down his sunglasses, and frowned. "Ayo, why this lil' homie lookin' so down?" He walked over and crouched beside the dog. The dog barely reacted, just laying there like he had no energy left. Snoop reached out his hand, letting the dog sniff him. The tail gave a tiny wag, but the dog looked too tired to move. Snoop turned to the vendor. "Yo, this your dog?" The vendor barely looked up from his stall. "Yeah, but he's useless. Nobody wants him." Snoop raised an eyebrow. "Useless? Nah, man. Every dog got a purpose." The vendor shrugged. "If you want him, take him. He's just taking up space." Snoop smirked. "Say less." He unhooked the chain and patted the dog's head. "Come on, Big Dog. You ridin' with me now." The dog tried to stand but wobbled, his legs weak. Snoop gave him time, waiting until the dog could move. Slowly, they walked away from the market together. Back at Snoop's place, Big Dog got the treatment he deserved. First, a warm bath. The water turned brown from all the dirt washing away. Underneath, his fur was soft and golden. Then, a good meal. Fresh dog food, not scraps from the street. Big Dog ate like he had never seen food before. Snoop chuckled. "Eat up, homie. Ain't nobody starvin' in my house." For the first few days, Big Dog was quiet. He wasn't used to kindness. He would follow Snoop at a distance, unsure if he was really safe. But Snoop was patient. He talked to him, played music, and let him adjust at his own pace. By the end of the week, Big Dog was a whole new dog. His tail wagged more, his eyes looked brighter, and he started following Snoop everywhere. Snoop grinned. "Yeah, you know what's up now." One day, they were chilling outside when a car suddenly sped toward a kid crossing the street. Before anyone could react, Big Dog took off, ran straight at the kid, and pushed him out of the way. The car screeched to a stop. The kid was safe, all thanks to the dog nobody wanted. Snoop kneeled beside him, patting his head. "Look at you, Big Dog. From forgotten to legend." From that day on, Big Dog wasn't just a rescue, he was family. Back at Snoop's place, the dog's new life started. First, a long, warm bath. Snoop filled up a tub and carefully washed away all the dirt and grime. The water turned brown as years of neglect rinsed off. Underneath, the dog's golden fur started to shine. He shook himself dry, looking fresher than ever. Next, a brand new collar. Not just any collar, a golden one, shining like a trophy. Snoop fastened it around his neck. "Now you look like the king you are, Big Dog." Then came the best part, food. No more scraps or leftovers. Big Dog got a bowl of premium dog food. He stared at it for a moment, as if he couldn't believe it was really his. Then, he dove in, eating like he had never tasted real food before. Snoop laughed. "Eat up, homie. Ain't nobody goin' hungry in my house." After the meal, Big Dog stretched out on a soft bed. His eyes were half closed, but for the first time in a long while, he looked at peace. At first, Big Dog was still a little unsure. He stayed quiet, watching everything around him. He wasn't used to kindness. But Snoop was patient. He let the dog adjust at his own pace. He talked to him, played music, and let him explore the house. Slowly, Big Dog started changing. One day, Snoop was chilling in the studio, making beats. Big Dog walked in, ears up, tail wagging slightly. Then, he did something unexpected, he started bobbing his head to the music. Snoop grinned. "Ayo, my guy got rhythm." From that day, Big Dog was always around. He followed Snoop everywhere, to the backyard, to the studio, even to the couch for movie night. His tail wagged more, his eyes looked brighter, and he no longer flinched when someone reached out to pet him. Snoop decided it was time for training. But his way was different, laid back, smooth, but effective. He started with simple commands. "Sit." Big Dog looked at him for a second, then sat down. Snoop nodded. "See? You a natural." Then came fetch. At first, Big Dog just stared at the ball. But after a few tries, he got the hang of it. Soon, he was chasing after it, wagging his tail like a puppy. Day by day, Big Dog grew stronger, faster, and more confident. He learned commands, stopped being afraid, and trusted Snoop completely. One evening, as Snoop relaxed in the backyard, Big Dog walked up and sat beside him. Snoop patted his head. "You ain't just a rescue anymore. You family." Big Dog wagged his tail. He finally knew, he was home. It was a quiet afternoon. Snoop Dogg and Big Dog were chilling outside, enjoying the fresh air. Snoop leaned back in his chair, sipping a drink, while Big Dog lay beside him, tail wagging lazily. Life was good. Suddenly, a loud noise broke the peace. A car engine roared in the distance. Snoop looked up. A little kid was running across the street, chasing a ball. But he didn't see what was coming, a speeding car, heading straight toward him. Snoop's eyes widened. "Yo, watch out," he shouted. Before anyone could react, Big Dog jumped into action. His body tensed, and in a flash, he bolted toward the kid. The car was coming fast. Too fast. Just as the kid turned his head, Big Dog leaped forward and knocked him out of the way. The car screeched, tires skidding against the pavement. It barely missed them. Everything went silent. The kid sat on the ground, eyes wide in shock. Big Dog stood in front of him, chest puffed out, tail still. His sharp eyes locked onto the car, making sure there was no more danger. Snoop ran over. "You good, lil' man?" he asked, helping the kid up. The boy nodded, still shaken. He looked at the dog and whispered, "He saved me." Big Dog finally relaxed, his tail wagging slowly. Snoop crouched down, patting his head. "My guy, you a real one." People from the neighborhood gathered, talking about what just happened. Someone pulled out their phone and recorded the moment. Within hours, Big Dog was all over the internet, a true hero. Snoop grinned. "From forgotten to famous, huh? You earned this, Big Dog." That night, as they sat back at home, Snoop looked at his dog. He wasn't just a rescue anymore, he was family. Big Dog wagged his tail, curled up at Snoop's feet, and let out a happy sigh. For the first time in his life, he knew he belonged. A few weeks had passed since Snoop Dogg rescued Big Dog. The dog had transformed from a weak, scared stray into a happy, confident companion. He followed Snoop everywhere, tail wagging, always alert. One afternoon, Snoop and Big Dog were at the park, enjoying the sunshine. A few people recognized the dog from the viral rescue video and came over to pet him. Big Dog stood proudly, soaking up the attention. But then, a familiar voice cut through the air. "That's my dog. You stole him." Snoop turned around slowly. Standing there was the market vendor, the same man who had left Big Dog tied up and starving. His face was twisted with anger as he marched toward them. Big Dog stiffened. His ears flattened, and his body tensed. He recognized the man, but this time, he wasn't afraid. The vendor pointed a finger. "Give him back. That dog belongs to me." Snoop adjusted his sunglasses and chuckled. "Oh, now you care? Homie, where was this energy when he was starving at your stall?" The vendor crossed his arms. "He's mine. You had no right to take him." Snoop shrugged. "Nah, see, I didn't take nothin'. You gave him up. Said he was useless. Now he's famous, and you wanna claim him? That's not how this works." A small crowd had gathered, watching the confrontation. Some people whispered, recognizing the vendor from the market. The man's face turned red. "I'll call the police. I'll take you to court. You'll regret this." Snoop smirked. "Go ahead. Let's see how that plays out." The vendor hesitated. The crowd wasn't on his side. People were shaking their heads, some even recording on their phones. Nobody believed him. Then, Big Dog did something that ended the argument. He stepped in front of Snoop, growled low, and stared the vendor down. His stance was firm, he wasn't going anywhere. The vendor flinched and took a step back. His confidence cracked. He muttered something under his breath, turned around, and walked away. The crowd cheered. Someone clapped Snoop on the back. "Man, that dog's right where he belongs." Snoop patted Big Dog's head. "Told you, homie. You ain't got no past, just a future. Big Dog wagged his tail and followed Snoop home, where he truly belonged. The vendor wasn't done. A few days after their argument at the park, Snoop Dogg received legal papers. The man had actually filed a case, claiming that Big Dog was his and had been stolen. Snoop sighed, adjusted his sunglasses, and made a call. Alright, time to handle this the right way. He got himself a top lawyer, someone sharp, confident, and ready to win. Maybe even a celebrity lawyer. The case blew up online. People started sharing Big Dog's rescue story, reminding everyone how the vendor had abandoned him. Public support grew fast. He got himself a top lawyer, someone sharp, confident, and ready to win. Maybe even a celebrity lawyer. The case blew up online. People started sharing Big Dog's rescue story, reminding everyone how the vendor had abandoned him. Public support grew fast. Animal rights groups, fans, and everyday people rallied behind Snoop. People posted comments, saying things like, "That dog belongs with Snoop. No question. You don't get to neglect an animal and then claim him when he's happy. Justice for Big Dog." The day of the court hearing arrived. The courtroom was packed, reporters, fans, and even some animal rescue activists. Big Dog sat beside Snoop, calm but alert. The vendor stood across the room, arms crossed, trying to look serious. His lawyer argued that the dog was his and had been unfairly taken. Then Snoop's lawyer stepped up. They didn't just defend Snoop, they went on offense. They exposed the vendor's history of animal neglect. Witnesses came forward. Some people from the market even testified, saying the vendor had left Big Dog chained up, hungry, and ignored. Then came the biggest moment. Snoop's team played a video montage, clips of Big Dog's rescue, his recovery, and his newfound happiness. The court watched as the once starving dog turned into a strong, healthy, and loving companion. The judge leaned forward, looking at the vendor. "You abandoned this dog. You failed to provide basic care. This court rules that you are unfit to own any animal." Then the judge turned to Snoop. "Big Dog is legally yours." The room erupted in cheers. Cameras flashed. People clapped. The vendor stormed out, defeated. Snoop grinned and looked down at Big Dog. "Told you, homie. You're staying right here." Outside the courthouse, fans and supporters waited. Big Dog had become a local legend. People took pictures, kids petted him, and someone even handed him a gold medal for bravery and loyalty. Snoop kneeled beside him. "From market stray to superstar, huh?" Big Dog wagged his tail, happy and safe, right where he belonged. Big Dog was no longer just a rescue dog, he was a star. After winning the court case, his story spread everywhere. News outlets covered it, fans shared it, and soon, Big Dog had his own social media accounts. Snoop's team set up a page for him, and within days, millions of followers started rolling in. People loved him. They commented on his pictures, shared fan art, and even started calling him the realest dog in the game. It didn't take long before big brands started noticing. A famous pet food company reached out, offering Big Dog his own dog treat line. They called it Big Dog's Bites. Snoop laughed when he saw the contract. "Look at you, making business moves." Next came a dog collar brand, then a pet shampoo company. Everybody wanted Big Dog to represent their products. Snoop made sure of one thing: every deal helped rescue dogs like Big Dog. A percentage of every sale went to animal shelters, helping other dogs get a second chance. Then came the moment nobody expected. One night in the studio, Snoop was laying down a track when Big Dog walked in. He sat next to Snoop, tail wagging, looking like he belonged there. Snoop grinned. Ayo, we gotta put you on a track. The next thing you know, Big Dog had his own bark in a rap song. Snoop added it to the beat, and it became a viral moment. The song blew up. Fans loved it. Big Dog had officially entered the rap game. Despite the fame, Big Dog never changed. He was still the same dog who loved chilling with Snoop, taking long walks, and playing fetch in the backyard. One evening, Snoop and Big Dog sat on the porch, looking at the sunset. Snoop patted his head. From forgotten to famous. You really did that, homie. Big Dog wagged his tail, resting his head on Snoop's lap. He was no longer a neglected market dog. He had a family, a home, and a whole world that loved him.